It's back. Transit damage, another fault, or something else? Let's crack on. Hello and welcome to another MrBetaByte video, and this one's a little bit different insofar as we have the C9 back again. Went back to Ivan. I think it was faulty from when he unpacked it, but this has gone all the way from the UK to Spain, so it's had a long journey through a couple of different carriers as well, so I don't know, it's highly probable it might have some transit damage. I'm not too sure what's actually wrong with it, other than it's got picture issues. I have already taken the screws out, so let's just start by taking the top off and having a look. I did wonder if it might have been the plastic gears on the front loading system, but no, they're absolutely fine. One thing I am noticing though is this is quite seriously bent, and the top cover doesn't seem to give away any sort of damage, like it being pressed. I don't know what that is. Oh, that's just a bit of packing, I think. So yeah, but this has got quite seriously pressed, and sort of a bit intrigued to see what that's done. The whole side of the board is, oh, I wonder if that might have got cracked, in fact. Oh, it doesn't look like it. It's all looking fine, but yeah, just suddenly thought of that. Maybe the panel had got broken. That is the head amp after all. But yeah, okay. So I think the next thing to do is power this up. I'll put that on properly. It's slightly stoved in, actually. Yeah, I can't see anything obvious wrong there. But yeah, let's power it up and have a look and just see what it's doing. And then we can take it from there. Let's crack on. Okay, so let's power it up. Just make sure power's on at the back. I tend to do that. Power on at the back first, then power it up, because the switches can be a little bit dodgy. Okay, so far so good. It's powered up fine. Let's get cassettes. All seems okay. Oh, it's cutting out. Okay. There's no... It's not putting the tape. So the controller's engaging, but it doesn't look as if the capstan's rotating. Ooh, that could be interesting. Okay, well, let's just lift this, because this obviously is not good. I can't see any other damage, which is encouraging. Not yet, anyway. But I do wonder what I'm going to find. Okay, well, that's probably the picture problem. So I just wonder what's... Yeah, I can move. I can see that. I can move the capstan. Oh, I just hope this hasn't got a damaged board or something underneath. Well, I've got an image, so obviously that being off, well, pushing that back on has obviously got that back, because that was right off. Wow, that's quite shocking actually. But we do have a capstan issue, and it's not being driven, so it's not jammed or anything. So I suppose we ought to take the bottom cover off and just have a look and see what's going on under there. Let's crack on. Well, just look at the PCBs. I can't see any signs of damage. It's not to say we might have a blown fuse or something. Because I have had... I mean, it's unusual. It's an unusual symptom for a fuse blow. Usually, you get more wrong with it than just no capstan. And the common one is, of course, heads running really, really fast, and capstan motor running fast. I think it's on the 9-volt rail. It's the same across quite a few Sonys actually. I know the HF100, for example, and the C203040. The SMD fuse, sorry, the semiconductor fuse blow, and you lose the 9 volts, and yeah, things are not happy. Huh. Okay. So it might actually be worth me checking the fuses. Because that would be an easy fix. I have had them where they just break. You know, there's not a fault. They just break. They fracture with age. So yeah, let's just for fun, he says, just check for life on these fuses. Yeah, fine. This one I expect to be fine because nothing goes through it as such for the back socket. Yeah, so they're all good. Okay, well let's power it up again. Put a cassette in it and see what happens. Okay, so let's put the cassette in. I powered it on, of course. Nothing at all. It's a bit weird. I'm tempted to actually just dig out another capstan motor before I start prodding about for voltages and just plug it in, because that's going to be a fairly quick fix. Connector over there and the connector down there. If it is just a dead capstan motor, but it's very unusual for these to fail. No, I can't quite see why it would fail just like that, but well, anything's possible. They are old machines after all. So yeah, I'll dig around, see if I can find a capstan motor. Okay, so I've actually managed to find a capstan motor out of another machine. Let's see what happens. Yeah, nothing. So it's not the capstan motor. It was worth a try. I had a real feeling that it was going to be. So that's good, I think. We just have to work out now what is actually faulty. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, this, isn't it? Slight problem I do actually have with these is I have very little service information. Like I don't have a proper service manual. I think I do have the Granada manual, which has some schematics, will give me at least some clues as to what's going on. But yeah, that's really interesting, isn't it, that we've lost that? So yeah, let's crack on. Okay, so I'm just going to do a couple of tests. First of all, the actual Capstan motor itself is driven from this connector here. The connector down here is just literally the Hall effect. So this is giving the speed information back to the board to then process it to set the speed of the Capstan motor. So I suppose the first thing to do is see if we actually have any voltage at all, like any signs of life. Well, we've got 12 volts there. Well, that's a good start. Not sure what I'd be expecting here. 4 volts. If I press play, yeah, that's going up. And then I guess we've got some sort of signal controlling, which is changing. Okay, so have we actually got something wrong with the Hall effect side of things? Well, the sensing side of it. I mean, the Hall effect's going to be fine. I'd like to think anyway, because we've tried it with the other motor. So yeah, maybe that is what's going on. But yeah, it's complex because there are double-sided PCBs on these as well. A very high integration, really very advanced for the time, that's for sure. But yeah, I could really do a cracking out of that manual now, I think, and actually do some proper checks and tests. I think I have actually got a couple of these panels as well, so I can rob parts as needed. I suppose at a push I could just swap the whole panel and realign it, but I'd rather get this one going, I think. Just to keep things tidy. So yeah, so I'll have a bit of a dig around, and I'll try and find that manual as well, see if we've got any information at all, and we'll take it from there. One thing I actually noticed, I hadn't cleaned the head drum Hall effect sensor, so I've just given that a clean. This one I actually cleaned dry, so I just used a screwdriver and some tweezers just very carefully, not at the same time, to scrape away the glue. The glue was really dry and crusty on this one. So probably would have been okay, but I have cleaned it up. You can see there's still some there on the one leg there against the plastic, but that's fine. It doesn't matter. What you're trying to do is just sort of stop any connectivity between the legs, and that I've successfully done, I think. I did use a bit of isopropyl, just a drop, just to sort of get the last little bits out. But you can see there's no glue between the legs at all now, so that's great. Don't know. Let's just get that bit off the top. That's a bit better, isn't it? Still a little bit. That's fine, that's not going to make any difference really. So yeah, you can see I took off the rotor. There is a washer, so just be mindful of that. If you pull this off and you hear a little tinkle like I did, that means the washers come with the actual magnet assembly. So that goes back on. And I actually used grips to take this off. It was sort of a bit seized on there, so I did just actually lift it off. You can very gently just rock it as well, just to get it free, but they can be quite tight sometimes. That's how I undid the nut as well. I couldn't find my spanner, so I had to use, which I hate doing, I had to use pliers, but it did the job. This is not the way I like to do the job. You can see there, I've just caught the metal in the nut. It's not my proudest moment, but yeah, in fact I'm going to turn that over because that should be quite good for some extra mechanical strength to stop it from coming undone, not that it would. But yeah, so I'll tighten that up. Yeah, I'm still struggling with this capstan issue. Everything checks out fine. I've got what is odd is I should be getting 12 volts out to basically start the capstan. I think it's 12 volts out. I'm not, and I can actually see the 12 volt rail dropping across the inductor. So across this inductor here, this is the driver chip for the capstan, basically turning it on, if you like. And yeah, I can see it coming on fine and gets reverse fine. I can pause the machine fine. It goes to pause, absolutely no problem at all. But there is absolutely no capstan rotation at all. But all the voltages are there. One thing that's slightly odd is I'm sure it was me, I very vaguely remember changing it. The circuit protector's been replaced. On the circuit diagram it actually shows it as a fusible resistor, but they've superseded that with a semiconductor fuse. So this is a really late one, I think, a really late machine. It's got the modification board, which my circuit diagram shows, but like I say, it's got this showing as a fusible resistor. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, it's intact. But yeah, I just wonder what's gone on in its past, dim and distant past, before I ever had this. This is actually, I thought it was newer than, or more recently I'd sold this. It's about 7 years since I've sold this machine. So, worked on this machine anyway before selling it. I think I used it for a while myself. You know, I was really confident that it was a good machine. And fair play, I think it has been. It's been absolutely brilliant. I mean, it's getting on a bit now. Yeah, it's so early on in the sort of history of me working on beta machines. I hadn't even cleaned off the glue, which I do as a matter of course on all the machines that come through the door now, whether they're a repair or ones I'm going to sell or ones I do for myself. All of them have that glue removed, because it's just, you're just waiting for failure basically. When that glue starts absorbing and becoming partially conductive, the whole effect doesn't stand a chance. So anyway, I'm going to keep on working on this. I've got the circuit diagram schematic to hand, but like I say, I'm struggling a bit to really find out what's going on. So yeah, let's crack on. So quite a few days on, and I had to order a chip. It's a MB3759, and I'm hoping that will sort it. I'll go into the, if it does, I'll go into the theory of why I decided to change that chip. Yeah, just checking I haven't got any solder spikes, because I'm a bit wary at the moment after the Panasonic V8000 issue, where I had a little solder spike that caused that transistor to pop. It's all looking good. I've checked the chip. I actually fitted a socket for the chip as well, so it just makes it a lot easier to swap it out, and also it means I'm not putting a huge amount of heat through the chip when I'm soldering it back in, because it is double-sided. Even though the chip itself, it's only actually soldered on both sides on the ground. So yeah, it's actually not that bad, but still, I'd rather not subject it to too much heat. So just make sure nothing's floating about up the top, and let's power it on. And see if it has actually fixed it. No. That's interesting. So I know it's somewhere around that chip I've got the problem, but it isn't the chip itself, and I'm a bit surprised, to be honest. Have I missed anything? No, I don't think I have. So that's the other slight problem, is that I've had this all apart and doing things, and then I've left it for a few days. So it's just like, have I forgotten to plug something in? But I haven't. It's all looking good. So I am a little bit at a loss as to why we're still not getting anything from the Capstan. Now, if I don't know whether I've shown this, but if I run it, it won't cut out. It is literally just not getting the start voltage to run it. So if I stop, it stops. So yeah, it's a bit of a mystery. Why isn't it starting? Of course, we tried, I'm just sort of thinking aloud now, we tried another motor, and that also did not rotate. So I know it's not the motor, but there should be a 12 volt off the top of my head. There's a 12 volt voltage going to the motor to basically turn it on, and that's when it's powering. When you press play, basically it is about 8 volts, which of course is wrong. It's not enough to make it run. So I've changed caps in the circuitry, the driver circuitry for that. I have obviously changed that chip, which has made no difference whatsoever. So yeah, I've checked the FG. I can see the FG running, and it is fine, because obviously if I do run this by hand, it's working. So there still has to be something in the driving section for that motor, basically, that switches it on, that is still not right. And yeah, that's a bit of a mystery. Okay, back to the drawing board, and let's see what I can find. So quite a few days on, and I've actually spent, and you could argue some of that is wasted, quite a bit of time trying to work out why this Capstan motor is still not rotating. And I say partially wasted my time. I had an intermittent probe lead on my meter, so sometimes it was giving me weird readings. Sometimes it was giving me like there's no voltage when there was, and then there would be, and I caught it out. I actually caught it out on a rail that I knew had 12 volts on it, and it reckoned it had nothing. And yeah, I actually jiggled about the common, and it sort of came back. Checked the lead, it was fine. Turned out it was the actual socket itself. Didn't know what had happened to it. I tried cleaning it, and I tried a different lead, and it was still intermittent. So I've actually soldered it to the PCB as a temporary for now. I've got another meter now, but I'm still soldering on with this one for now. So yeah, having sorted that out, things were starting to make more sense. So I'll try and explain how far I've got. I had a look. I've got the Sony repair guide for this one, for the C9 for the F1, and one other machine. Can't remember which one it is. It's irrelevant, I suppose. And it suggests that with no capstan movement, it's going to be IC305, which in the manual is described as a pulse width modulation generator, PWM. So yeah, I thought that's fine. I couldn't see the oscillator running. So there's an oscillator here, and I couldn't see this running. So I thought, right, okay, checked everything else. Everything else seemed to be roughly where it should be. So I thought, right, okay. It says that's liable to be the fault, given the symptoms. So the symptoms are basically I should have 12 volts. No, I shouldn't. I should have. Where are we? Yeah, I should have 12 volts here, and I don't. I have about 10 volts. So as a result, the capstan isn't turning on. Now, I did wonder about FG. I've got full FG. I can actually, if I manually rotate this when I press play, start rotating this straight away, it won't shut down. So I know all of that side is fine. If it detects that there is FG, and it is when I'm turning it, it doesn't cut out. It's only when I let go that it does after about half a second. So I know that's fine. There is 12 volts because I know there's a problem with this fusible resistor, which is replaced by a semiconductor fuse, which is somewhere. And that, I don't think it's actually on this part of the diagram. I would have thought it should be. Because that's the 12 volt there. That must be an additional one then for the head motor. Okay, but there's a fusible resistor on the older decks replaced by a semiconductor fuse on the newer ones, and is recommended to change to that. That is fine, of course. I've got 12 volts coming in here. That's all fine, hunky-dory. There's 12 volts here until I press play, then it drops to about 10-ish volts. And yeah, and I'm trying to think what the frequency was. There is an oscillation there, but it's weak and not right. I can't actually remember the conclusion I got to, but it's not right. So follow this down. You come down to the PWM generator IC305. So right, okay, voltage is low. I did check this transistor. This transistor is basically, this switches to reverse capstan. No, it doesn't. It's for step. So when you're in pause, this is actually pulsing the capstan. This is all working. I did remove it just for the sake of argument, in case there was anything daft going on, just as a test. Made no difference whatsoever. I can see the pulse. The oscillator that I thought wasn't working, looking on pin 5, that actually goes to the real as well. SAW, I can see that frequency. Now I've got a working meter, a reliable working meter. You also see the logic going on here. Now this is about, I think I worked out, it's 50 kilohertz. So yeah, here I've got 25 kilohertz, and here it's all over the place. It's just all over the place. So turning back round, following this back, I checked the analog switch. So this is basically switching between the different adjustments, essentially, and other bits and pieces as well, but different adjustments for the capstan. That seems to be working fine. This also takes a frequency from here, or in here, around here, it's TP314 to here. Have I followed that correctly? I don't think I have. So from pin 3 it goes round here, up here, round here, yeah, to here. It's pin 13. That's fine, I think. That looks right. Although that's an input. Yeah, so it's the other way. I'm trying to work this out as I go along as well, which is slightly doing my head in. So Frequencies are going around. Right, so that's the output, not the input. I was taking that as the inputs. It's irrelevant anyway, but it's sort of interesting to know that. 314, I'm picking up steady frequency. Can't remember what it was, but that seems healthy enough. Where things seem to go wrong is round here, possibly, but also further up here. And this is where it starts getting messy, because I've got this here, which is control amp. Ooh, control amp. Play about control amp. So there is that's an input though. I would have thought that's going to cause a problem, although maybe. FG switch. Again, there's an input here. So I think what I need to do is try and work out where that frequency is just getting messed up, and also where it actually originates from, because I don't think I've worked that out yet. I do have like I say, a repair manual for it, which describes bits and pieces, but it's really, really cagey. And this is the problem with the C9. I think it's because Sony were being so guarded with the design of this. They don't tell you an awful lot in the manuals. I think you had to go on training to actually know all the different sections, what to expect, and how they interacted with each other. I'm just sort of trying to work it out, and I'm going round and round in circles. So this is actually the same as supplement 2. So if you want an online version of all the circuit diagrams for the later C9 that has the FH2 board, then there is one, and I'll try and link to it. I think it's still online. I'll try and link to it so you can download the schematics. I know a couple of people have asked me for schematics for this, and I thought I only had this, but it's not. It's in a supplement as well, which I found. It's just a bit more useful to sometimes have the electronic version. So I have changed that chip, IC305. I actually socketed it. I managed to get these really quite cheap. I got 2 for a £5, I think it was. It wasn't too bad. I changed this cap as well because that suggested that possibly it could be at fault. Just as I was suspecting the JR1 board, which is the board that does all the trick modes amongst other things. Now, I was pretty confident after I'd fixed my meter it wasn't causing the problem, but the repair guy did actually suggest it could. So there's a couple, what was it? A couple of resistors, I think. No, not resistors, sorry, transistors. One which doesn't actually seem to be on the board anymore. And Q323, 322 and 323, I think it was. I checked the one I could find, and I looked everywhere for the one that now seems to be deleted. But yeah, all seemed fine. But just as a process of elimination, I had 2 other good boards. So I whipped one out, stuck it in this, and made no difference whatsoever. Exactly the same fault. So I am really, really stuck, and I just don't know what to say. Yeah, I am really at a loss. I did change that diode because that diode actually goes to ground. I thought if there's leakage on it, that could cause the problem. But it's the frequency just seems to be all over the place, and it's like something in the sort of the one rail then that allows the capstan to run at the right speed is messing it up, messing up the frequency. So it's just not, it's shutting down basically. That's what this is doing, because it doesn't equal what the oscillator is. I think I'm getting that right. What the oscillator is generating, it's not outputting the right voltage basically. And because here it says it should be 11.1 volts and it's about 9, so it's just not outputting. It's basically not switching on this transistor enough to run the Capstan. So I am a bit stuck. Ideas please, I think, is where I'm at with this. I don't have another S11 board. I do have another machine, but I don't have another S11 board that's intact. I do have that one, which is well and truly smashed, but it's from an early machine anyway, so it's got the FH2 board. But yeah, I'm quite stumped at the moment. There are no oscillograms either, or very, very few. Essentially none that I've got in my manuals anyway for the Capstan. I would like to see some oscillograms of what to expect at the various stages of the servo, because it's so complex in this machine as well. The way they've done it, it's all sort of individual sections control all the trick, like the trick modes and, you know, the Q review and all the rest of it. It's not like one chip is controlling all of that like on later machines. It's all individual areas, and that makes it a lot more complex because of you don't know, or you don't have much idea. The manual gives clues and you can sort of work it out, but you can't work out what does what and what to expect because there's just not enough data there. So yeah, if I do get this sorted, it will be a flipping miracle. So yeah, back to the drawing board, I think. I might just sleep on it, do a couple of other machines and come back to this. So yeah, I guess let's crack on. Well, I've taken the easy route out for this machine. I just have to get this machine back. So what I've done is I've dug out my slightly tired C9. Still needs quite a bit of work done to it, but it should be a good machine. And I've swapped the boards. Taken a board out of that one and put it in this one. That's the old one. So I will fix this, but I just need to get this machine done. So let's just press play. And then we have it. We have a Capstan. Really weird. But yeah, and it does sort of eliminate the anything else as well, like the trick mode board. So I know it is on this panel. And I'm going to be kicking myself when I find out what's wrong with this. But anyway, let's crack on. Super hot. So just finishing off this C9 that I've changed the panel on, and we'll get back to the issues with the servo on the Capstan servo on the other machine now, because obviously I've swapped the boards over. But yeah. So yeah, but it's working really well. Had to adjust, well, I had to do an alignment, just mainly on the servo side. Q review were fine, but we had issues with board adjustment. So had problems with the fast forward rewind speed, so it's running far too fast, and if that happens, then the tape remain will be the clue, because suddenly this will just drop when you do a fast forward or rewind if it's too fast. So adjusted that, also put the Sony back tension cassette in and measured the back tension. That was low, so I've turned that up so it's about 30 grams. Should be about right. It was about 15, so it was amazing really, it was playing so well. But yeah, did that, but everything else seemed to check out fine. Head switching, absolutely fine. Q review speeds are good. So yeah, it wasn't too painful, thankfully. I also had to adjust the playback level, so that's been done. It was just a little bit low. Obviously I've not changed this board, but it was just a bit low, and I was noticing it was just a little bit shaky on very bright scenes. So adjusting that has put that right, which is great. So yeah, that's brilliant. So I'll put this back together and get this back to Ivan. So yeah, let's crack on. So quite a bit of time's passed since I recorded the last sort of part of this video, and I actually recorded it in August, and it's now New Year's Eve 2025. So I changed the board in the end on Ivan's machine. That's gone back. It's absolutely fine, hopefully. I've not heard anything to the contrary, so I have to assume it is. But I thought I'd have a look at this C9. Now, this was featured in the Quick Look series, and yeah, I used this as a reference, just really as a working machine that was good. And I've given it a good clean, given it a brush out. I still need to strengthen the rear sockets. I say strengthen them, I put a wire link. So obviously they get used an awful lot more these days as a way of outputting. You don't use RF. So I just strengthen them just to make sure they're good. I've also done the Hall effect. Now the Hall effect, I wish I'd sort of done a video showing what it was like before. Some of these can be a real pain, especially on C9s, because they put the glue, like a good dollop of glue, right up against the back of the Hall effect device itself, and it makes it really hard to clean. So what I ended up using, which was interesting, I thought I'd just give it a go. I started out using this PCB plus the flux remover, and that actually did a really good job of starting off the removal of the glue. And then I moved over to isopropyl and the toothbrush like I usually do, so you know, just brushing it until it was clean. I did have to pick it out a little bit with a small flat blade bit, just to sort of clean out in between the leads there. But that is done. I just hope it's okay, because when I found the glue is right up to the pins, the glue actually rots down to the copper of the leads. So yeah, that could be a real pain, to be honest. But it can also compromise the seal between the legs and the actual encapsulation itself. Yeah, and it makes the Hall effect sort of intermittent or just die. So yeah, I remember we had an HF100, actually, I think it was. Exactly the same thing. And you sort of give it some warmth and dry it out. It was fine, but as soon as you left it, you know, the moisture in the air would get in there and just cause it to fail. They do not like moisture. So yeah, this is pretty much good to go. Now the machine I took the board from, that had a pretty rotten, well, being the damp, and you could see there was lots of evidence of sort of moisture ingress and rot and whatever. But I did actually buy, probably about 5-6 years ago, maybe even more than that, machines, C9s, that were they were sold as scrap. And they were scrap. I managed to make one good one, which was Frankenstein machine, as I called it, which sort of cobbled together lots of panels. And yeah, I did actually sell that to someone in Finland, I think, back in 2018. quite some time ago. But as a result of stripping down the remainder of those scrap machines, I actually have a load of SS boards, and that's really very useful. These, as far as I know, all of these are good, and I'm really quite over the moon to have this many spares. They've just been sort of stuck in the corner, the actual machines. No cabinets or anything. They're just literally scrap machines, because you know what I'm like. I do not like scrapping machines. If I can possibly help it, I'll try and keep them going. But like I say, I bought scrap machines just for the parts to keep those other machines going. So I'll get the other one done, and that will be a separate video, and we'll basically go right the way through it. Like I say, it has been a moisture short term. Obviously it's not been long term, I don't think, because there's not any sort of general rot. You can just see where some moisture's got in there and it's caused an issue at the time. Oh, I just noticed there's a bad pen there. That's interesting. So yeah, that should be quite cool, I think. This is about good to go. I do need to change the RF modulator as well. I think I have got one, but I won't bother showing that. It's, like I say, RF is fairly irrelevant these days, but yeah, it's just swapping, it's just unscrewing, screwing job. So yeah, with that, I hope you enjoyed this one. Bit of an odd one, because I went through all that to sort of try and find out what the problem was, and then I took the easy route out. No doubt we'll look at that board again. And yeah, but incredibly complex, the servo on C9s, and really, I mean, C20, 30, 40, much easier, but machines like the 950, quite complex again, and it's really worth, if you're not Sony trained, then really I would say getting the operational manual, because that will actually tell you what's going on. And there are a couple of things, like with the HF 950, that I didn't realize until I read that manual. Sony are incredibly in-depth with the way they control their servo. It's really quite cool. But yeah, anyway, with that, thank you very much for watching. A like and subscribe is always welcome, and lots more to come. And hopefully see you in another video. Bye for now.